What's up, crew? Greg here, and today I wanted to talk about delivering your MVP. So to set the scene, when we work with our clients, a lot of them come to us, as service providers where they do a lot of different projects. They're custom, and they're specializing into one core offer. Now, a lot of them are taking their first step towards delivering and creating a product that is more leveraged. So taking their expertise, their specialized knowledge, and delivering that in a more leveraged way. For some of our clients, that is delivering it to a small group. And so for the context of this, the rest of this conversation, I'm going to be talking about how you would deliver your MVP to a small group, aka one to many. But based on my recommendation is to start with a small group, and that small group is relative to the size of your existing audience. For some of our clients, that's like 3 to 5 people. For some of our clients, that's 20. Now, you can still fundamentally follow this process if you're delivering one-on-one, but for the sake of this conversation, I know many of you are looking to add on and bolt on a revenue stream that is going to be more leveraged. So that's what I want to talk about today. Now, the problem that I see with most service providers as they make this shift is they bring a lot of behaviors that historically, they're used to doing in their done for you services. And the first problem is that the client is in the driver's seat, meaning you hop on a kickoff call and they fundamentally tell you what to do and what they expect and how it should work. And that usually leads into a poor client service provider relationship. The second problem is that you as the expert, you set no boundaries. You don't tell your client how and when you communicate or on what platforms or who is driving what and who is responsible for what. So they think that they can kind of, again, take control, be in that driver's seat, and they can text you whenever, they can, directly email you at any times and expect you to be available 24/7, which, as we know, is not the case. However, many of you guys let it happen. And lastly, that leads us to being overworked and often underpaid because we're having to go in our mind above and beyond, but we never set that expectation in the first place. So what we want to do is structure this differently so that, and I believe that there's a huge opportunity, even if you just change some of these things for your delivery of your one-on-one service, to think of it more like choreography, like you choreograph the experience. So instead of them being in the driver's seat, you've choreographed this thing. So fundamentally, you are like the conductor, my Apple Pencil, of an orchestra, right? You are, calling on the ones, I know nothing about music, by the way. You call on one section of the orchestra, you add in the percussion, bring up the strings, and then dun, dun, dun. That's how organized and choreographed your delivery experience should be, especially in the onboarding. And when you do that, you actually create a lot of efficiencies and profit, and you're going to be way more productive with each client, even when you are one-on-one, but most definitely when you're working with a group of people. So some common mistakes that I see people making, just to call this out, is they spend a ton of time building this thing out before ever launching, and then they launch and it's like crickets. Also, as they make the move to something that is, a little more leveraged, aka done with you, they think that the whole experience has to be done with you. So say you have a 9-step process to get your clients from problem to solution, that just because you're making this shift, that all 9 steps or that need to be, now I need to coach someone through each of these steps. That's not the case. In fact, you're seeing more and more high-ticket coaching and training businesses weave in elements of implementation and assembly and layering in strategically done-for-you services, which, by the way, is hands down the best model for most of you moving forward, because you can stay lean and mean, have a lot of leverage, the profitability from courses, but you can get your clients faster results and take some things off their plate, again, strategically. You're not doing everything for them, you're doing a few things for them. So it's not a lot of people think that it has to be like, oh, it's all or nothing. I have to record a bunch of videos and let my client do it and I just coach them, or I have to do everything for them. It's not the case. So it's not an all or nothing. And lastly, you expect the first round to be perfect. I'll tell you, it won't. Your clients are going to pay you. You're going to get paid to deliver this first version, which is the point. That's going to help you validate, will people give you money for this? But here's how I want you to think about, okay, you've pre-sold this thing. You've collected money and you're getting ready to deliver. How would I deliver the minimum viable product? First time I'm ever delivering this thing, this is what we recommend you do to prepare. So you just got paid. Boom, that happened. I would have, again, remember I'm taking this from the context of we're doing one to small group. All right, you are going to set up a time in which this thing starts. And so you're gonna get a handful of people on a call and you're gonna give them the rules of the game. You're gonna tell them what to expect, how it works, how to get help, etc. Like these are the topics you're gonna cover. Think of it as like housekeeping. It's the guide rails that if you've ever been to a bowling alley with kids, they throw up those bumpers and like the kid can throw the ball down and with a little bit of might, it'll actually make its way all the way down the alley, but it'll like bump back and forth, but it won't go in the gutter. That's what this is. This call is to minimum viably, let's get someone on, say, hey guys, this is what we're going to expect over the next, or what you should expect over the next few weeks as we work together on this thing, or next few months. Here are the rules. When you need help, this is where you go. Here's what to expect from, hours involved each week. Whatever your expectations are for them, we set that in that call. And then you have a delivery schedule. I just laid out 4 weeks here. As you can see, and this is obviously a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and a Friday. Now, how I did it and or recommend doing it is on Monday you teach. Now, you can go live with the teach, or you can have a pre-recorded video explaining the lesson. It depends on how well you know this content. When I first made this transition, like many of our clients, we've already delivered this thing dozens of times because we were an expert in doing it. So we knew what to talk about when transferring that knowledge to our client. By the way, that is a real key to you look at any successful productized service or any successful coach or consultant, they didn't just jump into that. At some point, if you look at their resume, they had rolled up their sleeves and they had been doing it. The biggest little tangent here, the biggest issue with our online business industry is people are jumping in, they're picking a niche they've never worked in because they heard it was profitable, and then they're trying to jump right into teaching it based off of what they learned from someone else. But they can't navigate people through the little unique challenges that they would have known existed if they actually had ever done the work. So go look at these people's resumes. Were they doing this? Everything that we teach, we've done in our business, we've did for our clients when we were an agency. So back to that. You can deliver it on a Monday. I would deliver it either live and or Tuesday and or on demand. I'd release a video. Now, I'm drawing this line here for a reason. I'll get to that in a second. All you need for this presentation is Keynote slides. Honestly, if you want, if you're really good at it, you can use just an iPad like I'm using right now, right? But like you have an outline, and again, if you went through our process, you would have had an outline of what the 9 steps are, what they need to know, do, and teach, and some of that is in this workbook. So by the way, if you want this workbook, go ahead and comment workbook below. Our team will get that to you. And you have this first lesson. So boom, we have one day. Then we have our, let me get another color here, back to blue. Then on Thursday, you hold office hours. Okay, this is where you can answer the call. V1, you shouldn't have themed calls and all that stuff that you see a lot of programs doing because they added that as volume increased. Early days, small group, you could probably get away with 1 office hours call, okay? What I did was I was planned out the first 2 weeks, meaning I had my presentations created. Like before this day here, I had week 1 and 2 keynote presentations already complete, and I already have my outline. And so that means that even if I was moving slow and I created one new presentation a week, I'm always 1 week ahead in regards to the content that I'm packaging, which also allows me to stay nimble enough to, if a client needs to change something or ask me a question, I can insert it into my upcoming presentation. So it keeps me flexible enough. And what this does is I'm actually creating in real time, and then you would repeat over and over and over again. So that's the recommendation, is pre-sell it. Only prepare the first 2 weeks of actual assets that you need, and then create a week at a time, and you'll be a week ahead for however many weeks your program is. You'll probably go through a couple iterations of that in a small group environment before you kind of quote unquote bring this thing to public market. It's totally normal. We went through 2 or 3 rounds of people kind of coming through little tweaks and iterations. And guess what? Now 5 years later, we still make tweaks each and every month from what we learn. So I think a lot of people get hung up on spending all of this time when it's you're going to iterate it and tweak it and improve it over time anyway. So the sooner you get it out into the wild and the public, the better. So I hope you found this helpful. I have this workbook that kind of has some other worksheets that you can kind of look through and work through that kind of help flesh out what you might need to actually teach someone. If you want that, comment workbook below. My team will reach out and get that over to you. And if you're watching this on a landing page and you want to get the workbook, enter your info below on that page. And we will chat with you guys in the next one. Take it easy.